A blessed Sunday to everyone. We are back in our show, Voces Amoris, which means Voices of Love. And in this 15th Sunday of the Ordinary Time, we are going to give to you a special topic which is very, very interesting because the great John Paul II, now blessed, is soon to be canonized, either at the end of this year or next year. And so to discuss with that topic, I have with me my brothers in our community, Causa ni Maria, Sir Rodolph Aqueo, who is a master teacher in Sai High School. And then we also have Brother Joseph Camacho, who is a new member in our community, who has studied Mass Comm in order to prepare for really serving the Lord in the media communications. And so we are here to share to you, this reality of a great person who is our contemporary. We knew very well John Paul II. And so in this area of consideration, we would like to dissect around three segments here to talk about this great person who is so loved by all. First, we think of his childhood, a difficult one. He lost his mother early, and he was close to his father anyway. But then his devotion to the Blessed Mother started there, the real mother of all. That's why in his motto, papal motto, we hear that expression very beautifully taken by this Pope from Saint Bonaventure down to many other saints, speaking of this term, totus tuus ego sum Maria. I am all yours, Mary. I'm all yours, Mary. And so this is it. The motto speaks of the entireness of the totality of his surrender to Mary, which is the everything of Jesus. And so becoming Jesus in our times means becoming totally of Mary, so that we will become another Jesus in this world. And so as you remember, Sir Paqueo, the manner Blessed John Paul II took his papacy before he came into that area when he was a youth.
Yes.
Remember,
he lost his first he lost his mother, later on he lost his father, then at the age of 20 he was totally alone because his beloved brother, who was a doctor, was also who also died. So it was really painful on the part of Pope John Paul II that he totally surrendered and entrust himself to the Blessed Virgin Mary, his life, because he had no other parents or relatives.
And I hear that when he received the brown scapular, that he is now a tertiary, considered to be a tertiary member of the Carmelite order, he was able to discern his priestly vocation.
Yes, Father, because I've read recently in my research that once we have wear the scapular, that means we will become the third order, a member of the third order of the Carmelite order.
So all of us, many of us are members of the Carmelite. And one thing very beautiful in that is that all the prayers of the Carmelite nuns, the priests and brothers, and even the holy lay who are third order members that are really faithful to the scapular and are growing in grace and merits can reach to us who are wearing this scapular. So it's more than networking thing in terms of business. And then what is more important is that it's the Blessed Mother's vestments or scapular. So
as long as we will maintain our prayers and our sacrament with the Holy Church, because that is when we can receive the grace that we can receive from the Blessed Virgin Mary.
And so beautifully, the Pope said, remember when he said that my favorite prayer is the Holy Rosary. So he didn't stop. I think he could pray 35 rosaries every day. 35, remember? And then when he has those audiences of the bishops, because they always have to attend to the bishop in different parts of the world, he would take his lunch so late because for how many bishops that he was able to talk to, that would be the number of the rosaries he would pray before he would take his lunch. And therefore he would really delay his lunch in order to pray one rosary for each bishop that he would talk to on that very day. So this is a very wonderful example of a pastor who truly loved and entrusted everything to the Blessed Mother because she is the mother of the church. And this is really the decoration, but the essential also moving force of this great saint who is now about to be canonized. And in his papacy, in his being a pastor, remember in Poland when he had that issue of the labor issue,
yes,
solidarity movement, and the love for truth that he really wants to share to the people. I think these keys are very important to realize.
Father, was what I have read about Pope John Paul II. The communist authorities appointed Pope John Paul II because they believed that Pope John Paul II was then a bishop before he was nominated to be archbishop. They believed that he was meek and they could control them, but they were wrong because they failed to control, and Pope John Paul II became the rallying point against the fight against the authorities of the communism that ultimately under his papacy, communism was destroyed. The Iron Curtain was finally destroyed, and so I do believe that he should be accorded with the title the Great, because of his contribution not only in religion, for his example as a pastor, but also in his contribution for religious ecumenism, the unity of the world, the destruction of communism, which is the evil of our time.
Yeah, that's right. In speaking about Blessed John Paul II, we have lots of things to consider here, because his love of the Blessed Mother is already very, very expressive. And then we have the love of the Church that really holds the truth, the guardian of truth. And therefore, according to one of his encyclical letters, Veritatis Splendor, that speaks about the splendor of truth that we need to really, love so that we can live free. We have the spirit of freedom in order to do good, to avoid evil. And in his life, we saw it very wonderfully, put into practice, incarnated in a way that the people are inspired because of his concrete manifestation of freedom of spirit, freedom of life. For you, Brother Joseph, as a young person, you saw Blessed John Paul. What is your sentiment about him?
I always, if I saw him in the movie or television, I always want to cry because I'm moved by his spirit. His spirit that really love the people, especially the youth, who encouraged the youth. He said, always in his Congress, he said that non che paura means that be not afraid.
Yes.
He always calls the youth to answer their vocation, which means to the calling of God in their hearts.
Non avete paura. And so this is it, do not be afraid. And this is not just a kind of great seducer that our
many authors
would command in a worldly way, but we're speaking here of a person who is really truly charismatic
and because the Holy Spirit is with
because it's not only about the mob, it's not only about the crowd saying, oh, this is a great person, but it's about the hearts that are being touched by his presence. And therefore this is divine grace that even journalists and even non-Catholics and those who are against our Catholic Church,
and even atheist, Father,
when they saw him, they cannot contain but cry, and many of them converted right away. I remember one story, this is just a continuity of that. It happened, the World Youth Day in Brazil, and a Protestant or a non-Catholic Christian pastor always has a show like this, weekly, and then he would speak about the doctrine. And he went there exactly to be, criticizing the Holy Father. But then what came out was the opposite. When the Holy Father passed, although it was very far because the Maracana stadium is so great. And when the Holy Father passed by, exactly on the area where he was looking in order to, criticize and say many things against the Pope and the Catholic Church, when he saw the Pope, he was
moved.
Yes, he cried that he could not
Understand.
stop and understand
His feelings.
And then the grace of conversion came to the truth to be open in his mind and heart, that without any hindrance he accepted the faith. And when he came back in the show, he already preached the Catholic Church, and he asked his followers to do the same. And some of them were angry because, of course, they were also convinced of their sort of sectarian belief. So we see here now the power of grace. It's as if it's an apparition of Our Lady every time Blessed John Paul II.
And it did not happen only, Father, during his lifetime. Even in his death, in his funeral, a lot of Protestants, non-Catholics or unbelievers who went to Rome
just to visit,
to and pay homage to that great person. So his magnetism is beyond life.
Beyond life, yes. In fact, it is said that every day at least 200,000 people visit his tomb, at least. Meaning
wonderful.
it has days that it has more, and that is happening in Rome, in Vatican. So we are really blessed of a great person who knew how to deal with the difficult times, because he is one of the popes of the difficult times. And so please stay with us, because the next segment we'll be speaking of this great adventurous pope who is known to be the most traveled pope in the world.